Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about nullable types in C Sharp. So in C Sharp, nullable types allow you to assign a null value to value types such as integer, boolean, string, and date type. This is useful in the situation where we need to represent the absence of a value. Okay, now let's we move directly towards our uh, development environment. Now, first of all, we will learn how to declare a variable that is of null type. For example, I have a student ID. Now, I can define here like in this way in C sharp student ID, for example, is equal to 0. Now, this variable is not nullable and I can't assign any null value to this variable because there is no declaration of the null with the integer. Now, to declare a variable in C sharp as nullable, we have to use the question mark. Now, let's me declare here one another variable int uh, student age is equal to null. Now here with this variable, I have used question mark after the type of the variable. Now I can assign a null value to this variable. For example, if I want to override the value of student ID, let me give another value. Student ID is equal to null. It will give me a compile time error. You can see can't convert null to integer because it is a not non-nullable value type. Because I did not declare the student ID variable as nullable, that is why I can't assign here null value. But let's me assign here again a null value to this variable. It will not give me an error. I can also assign here some other value like this. It will not give me an error. So basically in C sharp, if you want that the initial value of any variable may be null, or if you want the value of the variable null, then you have just to use the question mark with the type of the variable. So it is our variable and it is the type, the integer type, and we use question mark. Now I can assign null value to these student age variable. Now, no, the null coalescing operator, there is a null coalescing operator. So the null coalescing operator provide a default value if the nullable type is null. We are using this operator. Let's me explain. It is the null coalescing operator. Let's me define here like in this way. Okay, and the name of the variable is uh, okay. Now, this operator provides a default value. For example, if the nullable type is null. Now, for example, let's me declare here a variable uh, student mobile number, for example. And this variable is not null, is not nullable because I did not use a question mark with this. Now, let's me put here a condition on this. Uh, if student age is null, then I have to define here 20. Okay. Now, this nullable coalescing operator means if the student age is null, then assign 20 to the student mobile number. Let's suppose this mobile number any. Now let's me run this code. It let's me yes, I think it's enough. Okay. Now let's me run the application and also put here a debugger. Just 1 minute. I have to put here a console dot line. Okay. Now let's me run the application. The student ID is 0 and I am assigning a null to the student age. Now at this line, because student age is null, that is why the value 54545 will be assigned to student mobile number. You can see that the value is 0. Once I execute this line, its value will become 54545. Let's me execute. And you can see here that the value is assigned to this because this variable is null. But if this variable was not null, then this value will be assigned to the student mobile number. Let's me change its value to some this thing 30. Okay. Now let's me execute the code again. Sorry, execute again. Now here you can see that student age is 30 and here it is 0. Now this line of code will assign 30 to student mobile number because student age is not null at this moment. As we see, the value becomes 30. So we use the null operator like in this way. No, we can also use the null condition. For example, if let's me first declare here a variable uh, int student data is equal to null. Okay, let's me make this variable null. And but let's me make it a string student name and it is null. Okay, now I will access here the length of the student name uh, length is equal to student name dot length. I just putting this line because after executing this line, if I remove this line, the program will stop. That is why I just put here at the end so that we see the result, right? Now, what do you think? At this line of code, will will there come an exception or the code will execute? Let's we see. You can see that an exception occur. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. Student name was null. Okay, because student name is null here, that is why an exception occur. You can see student name was null, so a null exception occur here, null object exception. Okay, now how we can see and how we can avoid these type of errors? So for the safe side, to check whether the object is null or not, we are putting here question mark. Now in this way, I can safely check if the student name is null, then give me the length. So this line of code will not, throw an exception because I put here the null conditional operator. So the null conditional operator basically help you to access member only when the object is not null. Okay, so let's me run the application. Now here at this line, it did not throw an exception and you can see its value become null because uh, we um, the null operator here, these one help us to access members only when the object, here the object is student name, when the object is not null. So for the safe side, we are using these question mark after the object name and then the dot operator to access. For example, here if it was a class, and if you want to access the member of the class, then you have to use the question mark. For the safe side, for example, if the student if the class object is null, then if you want to avoid the exception, then you use these operator. Okay, no, let's be I think it is enough about the null operator. So we are using basically question mark to make a variable of null type. We then use these coalescing operator to check, um, for example, if the value of these one is null, then I want to define to assign the default value to these one, and then we can use these null conditional operator to only access the member of the class if it is of a class, of a variable, of an object, if the object is not null. Thank you guys. We'll meet you in the next lecture. Thank you.